Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, scholars and dignitaries, welcome to another episode. Welcome to my world. Hello, friends. So, when you work in human services or social services, you see a constant influx of people who have fallen on hard times and need a hand to help them through a tough transition of life. And most of these people have never used social services before or only need temporary or incidental help. It happens to a lot of people, usually because of unforeseen or unpredictable circumstances or even a catastrophic event, and usually through no fault of their own. For instance, there are people who don't smoke or drink, who practice good eating habits, get plenty of physical exercises, and yet may get cancer. And nobody knows why, but it is simply a fact of life. And these people will need extensive medical assistance and even social services until the problem is resolved. Life is not fair. And I've known people who are very good people, have good morals, strong character, are good parents, good neighbors, hard workers, are charitable, even religious, who unfortunately have suffered negative consequences of life, again, through no fault of their own. But the majority of people I've seen who experience the negatives of life actually are people who, for lack of a better phrase, are people who have thrown their lives away. And the main difference between these two groups of people is that the first group, who are essentially blameless, experience bad luck on an incidental basis, maybe once or twice or more, but infrequently in any case. The second group seem to be constantly getting into trouble, constantly making self-defeating or bad decisions, and it seems that they don't ever learn from their mistakes. They keep on repeating the same behaviors and experiencing the same outcomes. They act in a total disregard for the understanding of one of the primary laws of life, that thoughts, words, and actions have consequences. And they fail to learn one of life's corollaries, that positive behaviors draw positive consequences and negative behaviors draw negative consequences. So yes, bad things happen to good people. That's a part of life, and there's no getting around it. Maybe it doesn't seem just, maybe it doesn't seem fair, but that's life. It can be because of illnesses and diseases, accidents, from natural catastrophes, from crime and violence and the negligence and abuse and actions of others, or even from other events outside of their control. I remember that during the Great Recession of 2008, a lot of people lost their savings and retirement funds. These are good people who struggled years of work to put some savings away for their retirement, and then one day they woke up and their savings were gone, melted into oblivion, at no fault of their own. So yes, bad things happen to good people, but it's not a constant, it is incidental. If you lead a good, moral, and value-driven life, the chances are that your life will have a positive, upward-leading trajectory. Things may be a struggle, but they get better, slowly, over time. That's one of the natural rules of life. Tomorrow builds on the fruits of today. Things get better. If not today or tomorrow, then next week. Just hold the course. Continue to do the right thing. Be better than the next person. Love, honor, and obey. Give to charity. Love and protect your family. Love your neighbors as you love your family. And keep your spiritual and religious life active and practice your religion through prayer and faith on a daily basis. But the reverse is also true. While positive behavior leads to positive events in your life, negative and dysfunctional behavior usually results in higher and even greater levels of problems and negative consequences. There are many people who actually have enough money to live on, but who foolishly waste it on alcohol, drugs, gambling, or unnecessary pleasures of life. They make wrong decisions, which they have a right to do, but then they and family and friends also suffer the consequences of those poor decisions. So, what I'm saying to you is that this is one of the rules of life. You are to live the life that you create. For the most part, while we are all victims of circumstance, positive or negative, you have options and you create your own life, both in this world and also in preparation for the next. But that's a discussion for another day. Suffice it to say that when you stand before Jesus, and that day is coming, he will ask you one question. What did you do with the life that God gave you? And you will need a good answer for that question. So now the opposite of those that have a positive and improving life is the person that self sabotages their life, does things which are negative to self and others, and chooses the wrong options time and again until their life explodes in anger, financial ruin, broken relationships, dysfunctional families, depression, causing damage and injury and toxicity wherever they go and to whatever they touch. And this just seems to continue until either they grow up and mature and change, or until they fully self implode. And often these negative people lead a wide wake of destruction from their path, negatively affecting tens, if not hundreds of people in the course of their lives. Here's just three examples. I saw a man once who had a history of trouble with the police. He was arrested again for a more serious violation, a home robbery, and was looking at 7 years in prison. And the judge actually wanted to help him out, so he gave him an option. He could go to a drug rehabilitation agency and then be put on probation, or he would go to prison and do hard time. And this man chose to do the hard time, saying, quote, I'm tough. I'm a man. I can do 7 years in prison. He sabotaged his own life just because of pride. And guess what? While a few people come out of prison as better people, that's not the general rule. Most come out even more hardened and bitter and resentful and angry than they were when they went in. So sad. This man was ready to lose years of his life, lose years with his young children, and lose his family. And for what? To confirm some self deluded identity that he was a man. Well, actually, real men would never have put themselves in that position in the first place. I knew a clinical psychologist. She had an absolutely wonderful job in charge of special services for youth in one of the largest and most prestigious schools in the state. The problem was that she would drink and drive and would be arrested repeatedly. She lost her job. She lost her marriage, and she went on a long spree of drinking and not being able to hold jobs. She died broke, homeless, and at the total mercy of government assistance. But the worst part was that she lost her dignity as a highly respected professional as well as her integrity as a woman. People looked down on her, both with pity at first and then with disgust. Few people had more untapped potential than this psychologist, and yet her entire career, in fact, both her professional and personal life, were flushed down the drain, all because of alcohol and because she refused to quit drinking. A third person I knew had explosive anger issues. Every time there was a controversy at work or at home, he would explode in a profane tirade. He never was cited in a road rage incident, but he lost a lot of friends and relatives with all the other outbursts. He hurt his children and ended up in a bitter and heated divorce. His reaction and his answer to everything was always the same: anger, intense, insulting, obnoxious anger. So, the moral to the story is to be very careful with the life you have been given. You are on a path of life, and life is a wonderful and blessed gift. And that path you set up for yourself is pretty resistant to change once you've set it up. So, first, be sure that your life path is something that is productive and does justice to the great gift it is and to the responsibilities you have. Second, you need to realize that your path of life doesn't change overnight. At least make sure it's not because of the wrong influences. Your life needs to remain positive and only change with a concerted and conscious effort and by measuring all the positives and negatives inherent in your new life pattern. So, what I'm saying is, don't throw your life away. A life is too precious to waste. In fact, you don't want to waste one moment of your life, much less your entire life. And the final exam for your life is when you are on your deathbed and you reflect back upon your life, and you will either say, thank you, Lord, I did my best for God and my family, or you'll say in deepest regret, Lord, forgive me. I threw away the greatest gift a man could have. Hey, be safe, Be well. Make today count for something, and may God bless.